This is Advanced Math, Unit 11, Lesson 1. Conics. Conics are the shapes you dealt with last year, which were circles, ellipses, hyperbolas, and I'm forgetting one I can't think of. Anyways, parabolas. It's all those shapes that you've dealt with before, and today's very basic. We're starting with circles. So this should feel very much like review for you. Circles in standard form. The quantity of x minus h squared plus the quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared. All right, you should have seen this before last year. Such that the center is HK, opposite of both insides, opposite of that inside, opposite of that inside. The center is HK, and the radius is r. Make note that that is r squared, so if that was 25, then the radius would be 5. If that was 7, the radius would be root 7. Okay, find the equation of the circle in standard form. Find the equation of the circle in standard form. Number 1, pretty basic from in the beginning. Center at the origin, and the radius equals 9. That's pretty basic. If the center is at the origin, that means the center is 0, 0, which means it's going to be x minus 0 there and y minus 0 there. So it'll just be x squared plus y squared equals the radius squared. If the radius is 9, then it's 81. And that's it. That's your answer. That one's pretty basic. X squared plus y squared because the center is at the origin. Number 2, center is 3, negative 4, and the radius is 3 root 2. Okay. X minus h, or minus 3, squared, plus y minus negative 4. Y minus, and you'll see that there, they're both minus signs. Y minus negative 4 becomes plus 4 squared equals the radius squared. Before I get to the radius squared, really quick, if I took the opposite of each one of these, that would be positive 3, and that would be negative 4, which indeed is the center. Positive 3, negative 4. Okay, we're going to do the work over here for the radius squared. 3 root 2 squared. You can distribute the exponent or write the base twice, up to you. 3 times 3 is 9. Root 2 times root 2 times root 2 is 2 because it's root 4. Square root of 4 is 2, which is 18. 3 root 2 squared is 18. Number 3, center is negative 5, positive 2, with the diameter of 4 root 5. Okay, make note, we need the radius, not diameter, so just be careful with that. If they give you diameter, remembering that radius is half the diameter, so that would be 2 root 5. Half of 4 root 5 is 2 root 5. Okay, the quantity of x plus 5, and that's because it's minus a negative, squared, plus y minus 2 squared equals 2 root 5 squared, and that's because the radius is 2 root 5 and it's always r squared. I'm just going to distribute the exponent this time. 2 times 2 is 4, root 5 squared is 5, 4 times 5 is 20. So it's up to you on which way you want to do it. That there is your answer. Okay, number 4. Write the equation in standard form, find the center and radius. Write the equation in standard form find the center and the radius. Find the center and radius. Okay. Number 4 is 16x squared over 3 plus 16y squared over 3 equals 1. Okay, what makes this a circle when we get to all of our different shapes? X is squared, y is squared. When there's only one squared, it's parabola. When there's two squares, it's not a parabola, it's any one of the other shapes. What makes this one a circle? Is there a plus sign? And these two coefficients are the same, 16 over 3, 16 over 3. If those numbers were different, like 16 over 4 and 16 over 5, then it would no longer be a circle, it would be an ellipse. What makes it a circle? Plus sign, and these two coefficients are the same. Again, and the x is squared as well as the y. Okay, I want to get it in this form up here. It's going to look pretty much like this one because there's no parentheses with the x or the y. So it's going to look like this in the end. So I'm going to clear by multiplying everything by 3. Gone, leaving me with 16x squared plus 16y squared equals 3. And then I'm going to divide everything by the 16. Now technically, if you wanted to, you could have multiplied everything by 3/16 from the get-go. That would have worked out just fine. X squared plus y squared equals 3 over 16. All right, center is 0, 0. That's because there's no parentheses there, so the center's at the origin. And the radius is the square root of 3/16. Square root of 3 is just root 3 over the square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 3/16 is root 3 over 4. Okay, next problem, number 5. This is typical of what you're going to see on the test. 9x squared plus 9y squared plus 54x minus 36y plus 17 equals 0. All right, when you're taking the test, there will be some questions that you don't have to do any work. You just have to look at it and say, is this a circle, an ellipse, a parabola, a hyperbola, what's the shape? And you're not expected to do any rearranging, you're just expected to look at it and know. Right here, this is what tells you. And they may not be next to each other, they may be like one here and one in the middle or the end. But there's two squares, x squared and y squared. They're both positive. That's a positive 9x squared, a positive 9y squared, and the leading coefficients are the same, positive 9 and positive 9. That's what makes it a circle. Okay, but in this problem, they're asking us to rewrite it in standard form and find the center and radius. What they asked us to do right there. Okay, so rearrange. Get your x's together, 9x squared plus 54x. Get your y's together, plus 9y squared minus 36y, and that 17 is just kind of in the way, so boot them over to the other side, equals negative 17. All right, subtract 17 from both sides is what we did. All right, we're going to complete the square, and we've done that a few times already, so this is definitely a lesson, a unit where you're going to have to know it. On previous ones, you could get away without it, but this one you have to know it. Okay, in order to complete the square, there can't be a coefficient in the front other than 1. And there's not a 1, there's a 9, so we factor out just the 9. I do not call it a GCF because I am not factoring out the x's. Do you see that? I'm just taking out the 9. Kids often ask, well, should I take out a 9x? No, you need this to be x squared, and you need that to be x in order to complete the square. Okay, 9 times x is x squared, 9 times 6x is 54x, plus the blank because we will be completing the square, plus factor out a 9 there, y squared minus 4y plus blank equals negative 17 plus 2 blanks because we're completing the square twice. And I'm sure you've done this last year. If not, we will get more practice. Again, I'm going to complete the square here. There's the first blank. I'm also going to complete the square here. There's the second blank. Okay, take the 6, cut in half. 6 cut in half is 3. 3 squared is 9. Take the -4, cut in half. That's -2. -2 squared is +4. And remember, you typically would put 9 and 4, but because there's a number on the outside, you do have to multiply that in. 9 times 9 is 81, and 9 times 4 is 36. +9, +9 is +81. +9, +4 is +36. All right. 9 double bubble plus 9 double bubble equals, you plug all that in, it ends up being 100. X into X, plus and plus, and it's going to be 3 and 3 because that multiplies to 9. And when you do your check work, it's 6x in the middle. Y minus, and it's going to be 2 and 2 because that multiplies to +4. And when you do your check work, it's -4 in the middle. All right, 9x plus 3 quantity squared plus 9y minus 2 quantity squared equals 100. And I'm just a step away from getting it in standard form. I'm going to flip this over really quick. Standard form for a circle has no coefficients up here in the front or denominators. So I'm going to divide everything by 9 to get it into standard form, leaving me with the quantity of x plus 3 squared plus the quantity of y minus 2 squared equals 100 over 9. That is my answer in standard form. The center is opposite, opposite, so -3, +2. And the radius is the square root of 100 over 9, which is 10 over 3. Okay, number 6. Sketch. X squared plus y squared minus 10x minus 6y plus 25 equals 0. All right. Really quick, again, if you didn't have to do, like we did all this work, which you will have to do on the test, but on the questions where they just ask you to name the shape, you wouldn't have to do all that work. You would just look up there and say, oh, it's a circle. There are some that easy, and there are some just like this where you do have to do all this work to get it into standard form. This one, same thing. We're going to rewrite it, but on the question where it says name the shape, 2 squares, they both have the same coefficient, +1, +1. It is a circle. All right, same thing I did up there. I'm going to rearrange it. X squared minus 10x plus y squared minus 6y equals, move that guy over, -25. I'm going to complete the square here and here. They both have a leading coefficient of 1, so there's no factoring out that I have to do. I'm just going to go straight to completing the squared. X squared minus 10x plus blank, y squared minus 6y plus blank equals -25 plus blank because I'm completing the square twice. Take the -10, cut it in half, that's -5, squared is 25. Take the -6, cut in half, that's -3, -3 squared is +9. And there's no number in the front to distribute like we did over here, so it's just 25 and 9. All right. You can double bubble it like we did up there or go straight to quantity squared. If you're able to go straight to quantity squared, go for it. Equals 9. That's going to be -5. -5 times -5 is 25. -5 plus -5 is the -10. Y minus 3, same concept. -3 times -3 is 9. -3 plus -3 is -6. And there's no numbers here to divide, so this is it. This is what I'm going to sketch. Now I need to know the center and the radius in order to sketch it. Center is opposite, opposite, +5, +3. And the radius is a square root of 9, which is 3. And when they ask you to graph on the test, you will be given scratch paper, not scratch paper, graph paper, so that you don't have to do this. But on homework, you're going to have to make your own graphs. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, center is 5, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So over 5, up 3. There is my center. And the radius is 3, which means I'm going to go in all directions 3. Up 3, down 3, right 3, left 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you make your circle. Okay, mine's looking a little ovalish, but best you can to make your circle. All right, and that, squish it in just a smidge, make it look more circle-like. That is your circle for this original function. All right, that is it for this lesson.